everybody. Welcome back to Off the Wall. My name is Mike.
I'm Sol.
And I'm Sol too. No, joking. I'm Bogz.
And we're here all together to talk about episode 5 of The Boys. We are fully into the plot and the story of this season now. We took a little bit of time getting set up, but we are fully into it. Soldier Boy is here. Jensen Ackles rocking just a fantastic beard. And we had some surprises, some twists and some turns and some upsets towards the end of this thing. Bogz, this episode in general, how did you feel about it, man?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's so clever. Like the way it does it jumps in time with different stories. You know, you don't feel you don't feel it drags. There's no filler in the episode. It's an hour, but it flies by. Any storyline they're doing in each episode is so entertaining and fascinating and curious and leaves you with cliffhangers. Even the characters storylines I didn't really like in, let's say, the second season, I do really like them, or their character turns and kind of arcs in this series. It's my favorite season so far, no doubt. All the newer characters as well. I previously was more interested in the Soups as opposed to the Boys, but now I am it's kind of becoming even now, with some of the things we'll get into now. But yeah, I really, really like it. And, it's weird. I want more than an hour episode. So it's that good. So I love it. Love it. It's one of the best series on TV. So, this year. So without a doubt.
Absolutely. So what about you? How are you feeling about this last week's episode?
I was going to say, let me throw this spoiler thing there.
Oh, we're just going into it.
Yeah, because Bogz might like the Boys a little bit more because they're kind of turning into Soups.
Basically, yeah. Exactly that. Yeah.
But I just enjoy the show so much, and every storyline, just like each one, is so good, and you want to spend more time with that. But then they switch over to the next people, and you're like, okay, now I want to see more of this. So each storyline could be their own movie, and I'd be completely there for it. And then also Frenchie and Kimiko, my OTP, I love them so much, just so cute.
Yeah, they didn't make me hate them. Kimiko's still alive, because I had said last time, if she better stay alive, or if you're going to get rid of her, then Jamie better become a major a main character, because if you're going to get rid of Kimiko, then give me my killer hamster. But the musical number as a musical theater kid, just did everything for me. And kind of like what you guys were saying earlier, especially Bogz, there were subplots set up at the beginning of the season. I wasn't sure I wanted stuff, particularly with MM and his family, and now they're tying those knots, and they're bringing it all together now, where it's like, okay, now I'm interested. Now I'm starting to care about what's happening here, and I'm ready to see what happens next, and development with the stepdad character and the relationship he has with his daughter, because now everything's starting to affect each other. But going in, we'll start with you, Sol. What was kind of the highlight of this episode for you? And again, full spoilers at this point, guys. You've already flashed the thing once. So what were you feeling? What was your favorite? What was your strongest moment with this episode?
It's got to be the musical theater number, right? That's a joke. But I think the strongest was Butcher and Maeve together. Kind of, and then she was just like, "You asshole, I've been sober for 4 months." And then he was just like, "Well, I've been sober for a year." And that these two people that don't like each other at all. And he hates Soups, hates them with a passion. We know this from all 3 seasons. And the fact that there's just this weird kinship between the two of them and their hatred for Homelander, and then what they get up to later. But I think just the scenes of them together, and we find out that she's the informant in episode 1, and just that kind of relationship, it is so awkward and weird and not healthy, but kind of so interesting to watch.
Yeah, I kind of wish we had gotten, because we're in episode 5 now, and I was kind of hoping we'd get more of her up to this point, and I'm thinking we are now, especially because now that she's Homelander and Black Noir have her in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. Apparently, being told she has to die is a huge turn on. But go figure. It was because it was one of those you weren't sure where they were going with them, and as soon as they started drinking, back in my mind, I was like, they're gonna bone. They're gonna bone.
Yep, same.
They do. And it is. I am glad to see them doing more with her. She's not just where she was last season, where it was a lot of just wallowing. And I know that she was, we know she was dealing with a lot of stuff, but after a while, it was like wallowing. Okay, I'm here to help. Now I'm glad. It's good to see. Like, no, she is in this to take him down. Bogz, what about you? What was your strongest moment of this episode?
Everything to do with Butcher, basically. He's gone. That they're talking about the line that he's gone. He's way over that. He has no line. It's almost like a parallel to Homelander, who also has no line. So now that he has the serum, where he, now he's got that ability, and now he has almost no fear, and the kind of whole team up with Soldier Boy. That's just exciting for me. And seeing Homelander, I think Homelander's kind of scared of, or wary, or like, cautious of Soldier Boy, and seeing that his psychic can now be Butcher. And just on that scene that Soul mentioned there, that where he's with Maeve, he told her point blank, all soups got to go, even you. Even though he's with her, drinking with her and whatever, they hook up and everything, but he's telling her to her face, even you've got to go. And she kind of just it is weird, like, obviously kind of half accepts it, half doesn't, whatever, but even weird. But I even like Stu, how he's this thing was, he's kind of, I like his arc. He stumbled across the serum, he saw the opportunity, and he's took it. I haven't liked his arc in season 2. I felt like they spent too much time with him as Starlight, and it just wasn't as interesting. Their romantic thing wasn't as interesting. But now he's, taking the serum. He's basically he's kind of helping, Butcher out, but I feel like he won't go all the way dark or dark side like Butcher has. He will go, he'll be the kind of ultimate good guy, but he now has the ability to contribute more to the boys, to Butcher, and to help Starlight, with the whole Homelander thing. So I found his arc interesting, and just him and Starlight's just brief conversations. He even leaves her when she kind of begs him not to. Like that's cool. That's great. That's you showing their relationship, because you've already spent time and how many episodes and scenes together with their romance and stuff. I don't need that anymore. Let's kind of move on, because there's so many bigger things at stake. Just me personally, I'd rather see them kind of storylines as opposed to them two having a romantic thing. Their relationship, I'm not particularly, I don't want to spend that much time, and they're not, like, the way they're doing it is so much more interesting. And obviously Homelander having the lead now of Vought, and being seeing how he dealt with things, at street level, now being, like the CEO or whatever, and seeing the decisions he makes and how he conducts himself, and how he responds, whether he instantly like barks back at someone, or kind of shuts them down, or he just gives someone the look, and then you're just worried for that person if they're going to make it out of the episode or not. So many different little things, but they're all kind of my standout moments. But it's mainly Butcher, really, to be honest. He's sealing the season so far for me.
They're finally giving Butcher some growth, I feel like, in this season, because up till now he hasn't been one note, but he's been consistent. Like, you kind of knew what he was going to do, how he was going to act, and now
he's got the edge.
He's got the edge, and everything going on with Ryan, and with losing his wife at the end of last season. Like, now kind of everything's on the table. And I'm actually glad you brought up Homelander with the board, because that was my favorite scene, because kind of as we predicted last time, like, he's going to keep getting put in charge of things, and he's going to fold. And that's why Giancarlo Esposito, why he was like totally fine to walk out and say, yeah, that's fine, I'm going to go sit over here and just watch everything crumble. And it's already starting. And when she asked, she's not that lady at the table, she's not trying to catch him anything. She's just like, oh, okay, well, you're in charge now. Cool. What are you going to do about this?
Yeah, what are you going to do about the EBITDA numbers? Which, like, someone in finance, I was just like, yeah, that's something you got to worry about as a company. And
you just see a switch.
He has no idea. I don't even think he knows what that means.
Yeah, that the pure immaturity of his response. Well, I forgot what he said, like something along the lines of, "Oh, so you think you're smarter than me now?" Like,
Yeah.
and then what can they do? They can't, they can't kind of,
They're
she has to
terrified of him.
apologize and says you're amazing, whatever. It's just
Yeah.
hilarious almost.
Yeah, they're terrified of him.
Yeah.
And you can especially and also, oh, Ashley, girl,
So good.
girl.
Her acting is so good.
She's
in
so
that moment
good.
with Starlight.
She's doomed. She is doomed.
Yeah.
She ain't making it out of the season. I think Homelander's going to wind up axing her off. But and we get into the main meat of the, we dealing with the full return of Soldier Boy. We're seeing now not only can he sap powers out of people, but he can just straight out obliterate things with super chest powers, whatever they're doing there, on top of his abilities that he already has. And we see really in depth the experiments they were doing on him, unloading machine guns into his mouth and seeing how invulnerable he was on the inside and the outside. In terms of what they're doing with building up Soldier Boy as this kind of villain hero, kind of MacGuffin for the whole series so far, Bogz, how are you feeling about that?
Well, with Soldier Boy, I all I can see is Captain America and the Winter Soldier together, but it's flipped on its head kind of thing. So it's such a smart way. His look is great as well. His powers are fantastic. Yeah, like the how he got tortured and stuff. Yeah, awesome. The machine guns in his mouth. And yeah, seeing how he destroyed that whole building with all the, I think 19 people or whatever, and how he can maybe like suck people's power and stuff. Yeah. And I could just imagine, in the war that they were in, obviously, and then that leads to his girlfriend as well, and confronting that thing with obviously the Seth Rogen cameo, which is funny. And yeah, seeing his confrontation with her, him asking her, how much did they pay you? And she was like, they didn't, or yeah, it was super creepy, and doesn't let the conversation doesn't go much further before she gets killed. And yeah, and seeing the just seeing Homelander's reaction to it all, and doesn't really get involved. Even Starlight was saying, look, let's go after him, what are we waiting for? And he's just hesitant there. And then obviously having the team up with Butcher, I just find it super interesting. Yeah, but having the Captain America and Winter Soldier together in one character, I thought was great. As well, just to mention the war thing, like how obviously we don't know the specific reason what happened to him there. They haven't dived too much into it, and why she sold him out, his girlfriend that is, or why she gave him up, kind of thing. And you can just imagine how he was in that war, how destructive or how horrible he must have been. Obviously in wars, people are obviously like that anyway, but how cruel he must have been and things like that. So maybe that was a part of it. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure they'll dive into it, but I can't wait to see. But yeah, awesome character to bring, and his power. He seems to be the weapon that they have coincidentally got to take on Homelander. So I can't wait to see that confrontation.
Yeah, kind of like you alluded to, and as they did in the episode, she gave him up. It almost seems like she volunteered him for this thing, because she said, and there's a lot of parallels with him and Homelander, because
I was just about to say that.
She says to him, like, I hated you, and I think she even says, like, we all hated you. And Maeve is saying the exact same thing to Homelander, like, no, like, it was never any love there. It was a publicity stunt for them. And so that kind of it's got, because at this point we've deviated so far from the comics at this point. Who knows where they're going with this? And it really kind of has me scratching my head, like, what was it? Just simply they just hated him, so they said, here, Russia, you have him? Or what is there another level to this which obviously we're gonna find out in the next couple episodes? But Soul, same kind of a similar question to you. Where do you sit as far as how they're handling what the guys on another channel have dubbed the Winter Soldier Boy of Jensen Ackles in this episode?
You literally said what I was gonna say when I was like, he's gonna throw it at me, and I'm gonna say him and Homelander are two sides of the same coin. They have the parallels there with the people that were the person that they were in love with. Because like Homelander was like, I loved you in my way, to Maeve, and Maeve was like, I hated you. I never loved you. and it's in the same vein with him and I forget her name, but his girlfriend, like
Crimson
that.
Countess, I think, is what it
Yeah,
was. Take on
and
Scarlet.
so I think they're trying to put those hints there so that way they know, like, he is not a good guy. We're not supposed to like him because when Butcher teams up with him, we're supposed to be like, this is not great. But it's a means to an end to go after Homelander. So I kind of love this show that like both sides are not good people, where like are not good. Where like you start off the show and you're like, the boys are good, the soups are bad, and then there's a few soups that we're okay with, and now it's just like, no, both sides are absolute shit, and like no morality on either side. And I love that because we're seeing two different ideologies going against each other, and both are wrong and both are bad.
It's kind of almost like mimicking the evolution of comic books in and of itself. You know, when comics were first a thing, it was everything was black and white. You had your good guys and your bad guys. And as the decades went on, comic books began to bleed some of that into the gray area with your anti-heroes and showing that, yeah, sometimes, you know, sometimes the villains are the heroes of their own story, and then sometimes the heroes end up being the villains of their own story, to the point where you get characters who are just straight up amoral and are just seeking the means to an end. And we've seen that progress with the boys as well on this series, where yeah, initially it's just, yeah, the soups are all corrupt and the boys are here to stop them, and now it's like, look, you're basically the same at this point. You're all, you know, juiced up and corrupt in your own ways, and you don't care who you hurt in the process to achieve your means. As far as where the episode leaves off with, and I know we've alluded to some of this a little bit with Butcher and Huey basically shooting up and leaving with Soldier Boy, and leaving MM and Starlight there. Soul, how are you feeling as far as kind of Huey's decisions and all of this? You know, do his decisions make sense to you?
Yeah, from his standpoint, because you kind of see it throughout that he's always getting rescued by Starlight, and he loves Starlight, and I think loves the fact that like because of her he hasn't died a few times, or like because of Butcher he's always felt like the weaker link, and he's had like Butcher, or even like in some cases like with Starlight, just being emasculated and being looked down upon. So like he's like, oh, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna be a hero, I'm gonna have these powers, I'm gonna be able to do something. And so I think he's taking it into his own hands, and Starlight is seeing that that's not gonna work out well for him. But he's just like, I don't care, I gotta go and do this because I need to have this, because so many times in the series he doesn't have it. He's the weaker link. And but the thing I'm more interested about, because again, Kimiko and Frenchie, Nina has Frenchie. That's what I'm worried about. Better
Yeah.
not. You said last episode that they better not hurt Kimiko and have her be dead, because don't hurt my Frenchie.
I don't know if Frenchie's making it out of this season. I will say that one thing with the Huey thing, and then I'm gonna throw this to Boggs, is that I haven't noticed anybody anywhere else really bring this up yet, is with the whole him being so defensive of Starlight thing. Like, you got to remember how this show started. This
Mm-hmm.
show started with Huey's girlfriend, his first great love, being arbitrarily taken out by A Train while he was holding her hand. She just was liquefied right in front of him. And ever since then, the only other love he's known has been Starlight, and it's been a constant. She's constantly being taken, constantly being pushed to the point where she's almost dying. So knowing that, and I feel like that's going to come up before the end of this season. Like, why are you so obsessed with saving me and protecting me? It's because look what happened to Robin, and which is the catalyst that started this whole machine. So I'm really curious to see, and I think it is. I think that's going to be kind of a big thing that comes up with him later on. And what about Boggs, as far as everything going on with Huey and how he's been handling things? I know you've alluded to it a little bit so far, but where is all that sitting with you?
Yeah, I agree. So he's been at this point, I feel, from the start. He's just nothing was presented to him where he would risk would would put himself in harm's way because he was never the odds went in his favor. Now with the serum, he can do that. But yeah, obviously seeing A-Train run through his girlfriend, that's his ex-girlfriend because A-Train run through her. So he's got he's had that, he's had that kind of will to take these guys down. So Starlight has come after that. That will has still been there. So that will was there from the start. So now he has the ability to make it a bit even. So, or he thinks he does at this point. But we'll see about that. But yeah, obviously Kamiko and Frenchie stuff. I do really like that Nina. She just kind of comes in and out of the blue. Threatens him with this. Brings up his history and then kind of leaves. Are you doing this? And kind of leaves. So puts him in a predicament. Again, that's another one there. I didn't love their kind of romance thing before, him and Kamiko, but now they've added this different thing to it, where we're not spending so much time with them two in a romance. They've added this kind of ulterior thing for Frenchie. That again, that makes that more interested in. Obviously, getting spiked at the end. I did like that from Butcher because he was the only one who did draw a line from the boys, and Butcher's way over that line. There is no lines for him, so he spiked his friend. He's now split. He's caused a split amongst the boys. So that'll be interesting moving forward. Who's going where in that crew? So obviously we see Butcher with Stu, but the rest seem to be together. So we'll see. And yeah. Can't wait to see Soldier Boy and Homelander go. And the way it ended with Maeve as well, where she got taken. I just love the way Homelander was so. He gave her a chance to beg. Like I feel like when he, when he said to her like, our relationship, like we had a thing, and she, that was her opportunity to say, oh, you're amazing, I love you. You've definitely got a bond. She chose the path. And we'll see what happens there. Obviously,
I almost thought that she was too.
I thought she would say, I thought she was going to say like, "Oh, we had that bond," because he seems like he might. He shows mercy sometimes, or he waits to show you punishment if you beg to him. So obviously, she didn't do it. She chose a path there, and we'll see what happens to her poor girl.
And also, I think what brought it over the edge is he's just like, "Yeah, I'm done with you." Was when she said, "I pitied you."
Yeah.
But I really want to speak on the A-Train and Blue Hawk.
That was my next point. Yeah. That entire, again, I'm glad to see they're doing something with A-Train that A, plays to things going on in the real world, and B, is a lot more than just he could run he could run fast and now he can no run fast. Like it's going somewhere finally. What were you feeling? What were you thinking about that whole sequence with him and Blue Hawk and what happened with his brother?
Well, kind of going to when Starlight says to him, like, why are you showing loyalty to like people that hate you? Kind of thing. And then you see kind of in this sense that he's showing loyalty to Vi. He's trying to do this thing for his brother, but he's doing it in the wrong way. Bringing this guy in with the cameras, like it's all a publicity stunt. And you see him too. He's looking down. He's reading the notes. He doesn't mean the words of his apology, but A-Train literally thinks he's helping. And I think he's finally, with his brother getting hurt and with what's going on, is finally understanding the gravity of what's going on. Because I think before then, he really thought putting on that suit or bringing this guy in with the cameras was helping when it wasn't at all. So I think we're going to see a little bit more stuff from A-Train in the next few episodes of like where he actually stands. Because there's moments of morality with A-Train, and then he goes and does something fucked up. So I kind of want to see him go more towards the light side, if we're going to go Star Wars terms here. Like, go towards the light, my guy. Go towards the light.
Bogz, what about you, man? What did you think of the whole thing with A-Train?
A-Train, I'll be honest, the A-Train storyline from this episode is the least interesting from all of them. It's not a bad episode. It's just, what is he doing in this series so far? He's, obviously he sold Starlight out. and obviously got her friend killed and stuff. But yeah, I just wasn't massively compelled with that. You know, I did like the little what was his name, Blue Hawk. I did like the character that played that. But yeah, obviously, you know, he was warned. You know, his brothers tried to give him advice in the early episodes. He hasn't took it, and obviously, this is the consequence that his brother got hurt, and he didn't really do anything. Didn't try to really stop. Try to get him to leave, but you know, obviously, for him to do that, you know, he's a conflicted character, and we're just seeing it play out more and more. But yeah, him and the Deep didn't have too much to do in this episode. But I want to give a shout out to Legend, obviously. The Legend character played by Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser,
yeah. I love these cameos that they just drop in. And as one of the first episodes I didn't mention, or the first few episodes, it was Sean Patrick Flannery, obviously played young Indiana Jones. I used to love that series so much. I think he was in the first episode. Who is he?
No. Who was he in The Boys?
He played the I don't know the character's name. I can check it when I'm done. But yeah, he played the guy in who they fought in the first episode at that convention, was it, or something? So I'll check that.
Gunpowder?
I forgot his name. Yeah, Gunpowder. Yeah.
Oh wow!
I geeked out when
I didn't realize that was him.
I've not seen that guy for so long.
It's because he had his mask and stuff.
And I knew straight away in the mask. I recognized his voice. That young Indiana Jones. I'll never forget that. But yeah, and obviously Paul Reiser in this, and you know Seth Rogen, and it's really fun, really fun cameos, and again, not distracting from the story, and adding to it if anything. So yeah, HA storyline again wasn't the most compelling storyline, but I want to see where he goes. You know, because he's had the least development this episode, this series so far, but let's see. Maybe Stewie might confront him. I don't know, but let's see, because obviously he doesn't really have powers in the minute, so he's just kind of there dealing with kind of real life politics kind of thing. But I want a bit more from his character, you know, because he's not too involved in any other storyline. So we'll see with him.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of full circle stuff with A-Train in this season, and I think the seeds for that were kind of planted in the first episode when they're at the film premiere, and A-Train says to Huey, you know, he's like, "Look where we've come," you know, considering how things started between you and me with you know what happened with his girlfriend, and also when he's having the meeting with Ashley and Blue Hawk, when he's like, "What do you want me to do about this?" and he's like, "I don't know, an apology would be nice," and it's like that's such a full circle moment from the first season where it's like, what do you want? What am I supposed to do about killing this dude's girlfriend? He's like, well, you could at least apologize. And I think we're going to see more of those, you know, those things from the past coming back to A-Train to look him in the face and say, this was you. Like, this has been you. Now you're seeing it from the other side. And everything with the Deep was fine. It was funny. It was one scene. I laughed.
His creepy ass wife.
They're both creepy. They're both creepy,
and I hope that goes somewhere quick, because that's the only one where I'm kind of like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah, same.
Wherever we're going, let's get there. Like,
other than firing all those people, like we need a little bit more from you, the Deep.
Well, speaking of what's coming, we know that this week's episode 6 from the official Wikipedia page, this episode is titled Herogasm. And if you've read the comics, you know what's coming. And I am just kind of like with what happened in episode 1, I am on pins and needles with how this is going to be handled this week. If you haven't read the comics, basically there's a super orgy coming, and
not safe for work. Do not watch
even a little bit. Like don't. Like, but I don't even know how, with everything the way this episode ended, I have no idea how that's going to get worked into any of this. This is going to be a weird week, and I kind of can't wait to talk about it. So, any final thoughts, Bogz, you'd like to give on this week's episode?
Yeah, no, really strong episode. Thoroughly enjoyed it. They're so smart with it. You know, excellent writing. You know, every character arc's fantastic, pretty much. And yeah, this is the best superhero TV show on television by far, better than any Disney Plus show or any other superhero show. I'm gripped every episode. I wish the episodes were even longer. So I can't wait for next week.
And Soul, any final thoughts?
This show is so clever. I'm worried about Ashley. We saw a little bit of her true colors in there. I don't think she's surviving. I don't think Frenchie's surviving, and that makes me sad. But yeah, just echoing Boggs. Like, so smart, great, has me gripped. I love it.
Yeah. This is my favorite show currently airing, and I'm talking Kenobi, Ms. Marvel, even the Orville, which I currently love. The Boy has just got everything going for it right now. Definitely the strongest season they've had, at least so far, and I can't wait to see what happens the rest of this season. Let us know what you guys thought down in the comments, or leave us a message on Twitter. All the Twitter stuff's down in the description. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit the bell, and check out everything else we have going on here on Off the Wall, whether it's our Kenobi reviews, Ms. Marvel, the Orville, our trailer reactions, our Jurassic World Dominion review. All that stuff's here. And on behalf of Boggs and Soul, we'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.